Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for being here. Our staff has been very kind to me to front load me. My daughter is graduating high school this weekend, and tonight is her honors convocation. And that officially means that she interrupted 2 of my 4 alumni board meetings for the year, which I'll remind her of later. And when the reviews come in and are much more positive that I haven't been around, I'll make sure she knows it's her fault. Let's pray. I know you're in the middle of eating, so I'll make sure and get my verbs right. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts, which we are and are about to receive from thy bounty, through Christ our Lord, amen. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, amen. Thanks for being here. Just want to, again, say how grateful I am for the support that our alumni board gives the school in so many ways, and I know there's some details. We'll hear about that later. I just want to give a snapshot since the last meeting we had, and it's unfair because I can't name everything, just about the great things that have happened in the school year. A week ago Wednesday, we had our end of the year faculty and staff dinner here. And what I've been saying is something that should be said here every year, and it's easy to say, but we should never forget to say it. And we have so much to be proud of in the young men that go to school here, so much. And I think about our young men who did their senior service projects, who went to Honduras in the second semester, who acted in our musical, which was absolutely outstanding. I think of the young people that I watched at choral concerts and band concerts and all school masses and the litany of clubs and activities and teams. And this spring sports season, our teams, it seems like, have become so competitive that I honestly have lost track of district final, quarterfinal, semifinal, where they all are. But it's amazing. We have 9 spring sports teams. So right now down at the baseball field, our baseball team is playing Vianney in the district title game. And later tonight, our volleyball team plays in, I think, the state quarterfinals. Somebody probably knows, might be semis. Track runs at sectionals this weekend. Rugby finished 2nd at state. Golf went to the state tournament for the 3rd year in a row, finished 7th at state. Lacrosse is headed into the playoffs. I think they're in the final 8. Maybe final 4. Again, a lot of success. John Panelia is waving at me in the back of the room. I was waiting. John wanted me to make sure and convey to you that his team lost their last game of the year. But the varsity water polo team won their 18th state title. And one of the neatest moments in a game that really wasn't that close, as most of their games weren't this year, was out at the Recplex in St. Peter's, all the team swimming across the pool, treading water as only water polo players can, and all the hundreds of kids in the stands and the parents singing "Oh, When the Bills Go Marching In Together." And it was a really cool moment. And I think there were some folks from Lindbergh saying, "Now, what are they doing?" It was neat. I'm sure I'm leaving things out. We have so much to be proud of in the kids. And I'm grateful for our seniors. We're going to get to hear from one tonight who's shooting out to the West Coast. We've got guys going to New York and Columbia and St. Louis University and Notre Dame and all these places, wonderful places across the country. They've been such a gift to the school, and we just have to express our gratitude. If you didn't see it in the Post-Dispatch, I think emblematic of our guys, our scholar athlete, the Post has us, our coaching staffs vote on a SLU High Scholar Athlete, a student with a GPA and a profile of activities. And this young man, Chris Kreinkamp, if you didn't see it, he was a water polo, shout out there, Mr. Panelia, and a swimmer. And when you read through this list that was in the paper, emblematic of such wonderful guys. National Merit semifinalist, AP Scholar with Distinction, Dartmouth Book Award winner, Missouri State High School Activities Association Band, Solo, and Ensemble Festival 1 rating, Academic All-American USA Water Polo, first honors all semesters, perfect attendance, a Missouri Swimming State Championship 5th place finish in the 200 relay, all-state water polo team, 2015-16 state champions, a violinist in our chamber orchestra, head football manager and reporter, the National Honor Society secretary, a member of the SLU pastoral team, an Eagle Scout. He's going to Notre Dame to study engineering. His favorite subject's math. And when the reporter from the Post-Dispatch said, "What's your goal?" he said, "I'm unsure of where I will end up in 4 years, nor do I have a larger long-term concrete goal. I simply want to dedicate my talents to the greater glory of God and the benefit of society." I can tell you, if you read through that Post-Dispatch article, that's something we can be proud of as people are talking about their goals in life. So I'm just very grateful as we end our year for another wonderful school year, grateful to our faculty and staff who walk with our kids. Things to kind of update you on, some of you know this, we are losing our school principal after his 8th year. Dr. John Moran is an original Bostonian, and he is going to move to be the principal of Chevrolet Jesuit High School in Portland, Maine. I'm really happy for John and his family because it gets them closer to their family. And I'm very glad that he can stay in Jesuit education. But I also know in our school year at this time, it's an awkward time to make that transition. But as somebody at the social hour said to me, you know, this place is kind of a machine with so many good people, you move forward. So we'll be doing that, and more than likely the timing on that means that we'll start a permanent search process in the fall, which is my responsibility for the best process for the school, for the best academic and mission-based leader of the school. And in the meantime, we'll have an interim plan that will continue to take care of the school quite well. Strategic, initiatives or things that I want to cite that are particularly of interest. I know last alumni board meeting, we talked a little bit about things we're trying to seed or foster in a campaign. And some of it is curricular learning experiences. There's a lot of exciting initiatives that are at a discussion stage. And I just want to illustrate one quick story that I was really proud of for our students and the type of thing that we're trying to facilitate. St. Louis University at the top floor of their law school through their medical school had something a couple of weeks ago called SLU Med Lunch. And it was entrepreneurial, medical, or good of humanity ideas that teams of people work on to try to propose, and essentially through creativity and entrepreneurial thinking and the imagination, create something for good. As I recall, there were 7 booths that were at the law school. And this was doctors and medical students and biomedical engineers, a lot of university people. It was a really neat thing that St. Louis University put on. There were 7 high school students there. All of them were ours. 4 of them had their own booth. They were the only all high school booth. Creating a program that they're working diligently on that I don't have enough time to explain called Skydration. They are trying to help solve some of the water rationing problems in Africa through a combination of computer coding, creative thinking about surroundings, and low-cost ways to work with NGOs to help people who have this need. It's an unbelievable project. They've won entrepreneurial award money for it. They're meeting with professionals in different endeavors to try to see if they can get this launched. I believe it has the power to do real good, but I'm so proud of them for just dreaming big on behalf of other people. The other guys that were there for ours were paired with a biochemical engineer and a medical student doing something for patients with diabetes. Those students got to that place because months ago, one of our social studies teachers who's been working on entrepreneurial thinking and imagination and creativity and networking sent them to something in St. Louis called CIC. Is anybody here familiar with CIC? And something called the Venture Cafe, which is this idea of pulling people together for creative thinking and entrepreneurial ideas. And there they got connected to these greater ideas and visions. And they're learning this tremendous cross set of skills, from public presentation to business management to men for others thinking to help other people. And it's emblematic, or it's an example again of something that I think is happening in different pockets. We talked about the Clavius Project robotics service that's happening here. All of that is on top of this unbelievably strong curriculum that is happening with our great faculty overall. Let me stop there because I am going to have to leave and leave 5 minutes for any questions and answers about anything I said or anything I didn't say. Well, then I'll end with this announcement. So the other night, Tuesday night, we had our Mothers Club installation. If you're a junior Bill, you know about the power of the Mothers Club at St. Louis U High, right? I mean, there is no greater machine than the Mothers Club. And so I told this story in honor of our Mothers Club. I went to the Mom Prom this year, which was a great, great event. And that morning we had Grandparents' Mass here in the Commons, which was also a great event. And at the Grandparents' Mass, the president of the Mothers Club came up and said, Mr. Laughlin, would you say a prayer tonight at the Mom Prom? I said, I'd be very honored to say a prayer, thank you. And I got to the Mom Prom a little early to visit, and there are two co-chairs, and one of them walked up and said, now, Mr. Laughlin, you're going to say the prayer, right? I said, yeah, I'm going to say the prayer. Okay, well, will you also thank these two people? Because they really worked hard on this event. I said, got it. I'll thank those two people, and I'll say the prayer. And then another mom walked up to me, and she said, Mr. Laughlin, you're saying the prayer tonight, right? I said, I am happy to say the prayer tonight. Now, you need to make sure and thank these two people, and I'm sure she probably told you that, but we need to thank these other two people as well. I said, okay, I can do that. I said, you know, I got to get a business card out and start writing this down. So I took it out, and I jotted the notes down, and I started to put the card back in my pocket, and last year's Mothers Club president came up and said, oh, Mr. Laughlin, there you are. You're saying the prayer tonight, right? I said, yes, I am saying the prayer. And she said, look, I have a sticky note for you. There's a couple other people we have to thank, and I need you to talk about the centerpiece on the table because we had a mom who passed away, and this mom made the centerpiece, and there's a flower in the middle for Lucy Nile, and so it's on this sheet of paper for you. I said, I am on it. I am there. And then I walked down the stairs, and there was our Mothers Club president, whom I had seen at the Grandparents' Mass, and with God as my witness, this is not a lie. She walked up to me with her purse, and she goes, oh, good, there you are. I have some note cards for you. And she pulled out a set of note cards, and she said, now you're going to say the prayer tonight, right? And everything those four other women officers who had put this event on told me was on a recipe card, 3 recipe cards. Step 2, step 3. And so I'm just laughing because none of them is having my experience where they're making sure I don't mess this up. They had a fabulous Mom Prom, and Tuesday night at the Mothers Club installation, our incoming Mothers Club president, Dee Dee Pitts, I said, you know, and we need somebody who's organized, you know, somebody who's, you know, on it. So I'm thinking in addition to Mothers Club president, you're just going to be principal next year because I know that this place will just go the way it's supposed to go. The Mothers Club and the Fathers Club, just great examples of wonderful volunteers. Thank you for humoring me to tell that story. It's a wonderful community we have here. God continue to bless all that you do in your families, in our community to live out the mission of the school. And thanks so very much for your commitment in part of that busy life of yours, this wonderful school. Have a wonderful summer. I'll look forward to seeing you all in the fall. If there's ever anything I can do, please let me know. Thanks so much, and God bless.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Tim Wells, as the slide obviously says, class of '99. This is my last hurrah as your fearless leader. Although most of you had no say in me taking on this position, hopefully I've not let you down or led you in the wrong path. I wanted to start, as we always do. Do we have any first-time attendees? If we could have you stand up, name and year, just to introduce yourself. Yes. Tim from 11, welcome. Anybody else? All right, perfect. Then onward and upward. We've had a great year. Dave talks a lot about this place being a machine, but that machine doesn't happen without effort. And there are a handful of people here and a lot of people behind the scenes that make that happen. So thank you to all of the team on the advancement, in the advancement department for everything that you do. You make our jobs easier. You make our school better. You make our community better. And I mean it sincerely when I say thank you for all you do. So for Dave and Melissa and Joe and Ben and John and everybody else. I'm forgetting thousands of people, but thank you for all that you do. And we look forward to continuing to support that. But some highlights from the year: we had over 100 of you, 100 of the alumni board members volunteer at the various class phone-a-thons. As you know, the purpose of this is not just to get together and have free drinks and free food. There's a few commitments that we ask from you, one of which is to participate, to show up to the Alumni Day of Service, which happens to be this Saturday, to participate and support your phone-a-thons, to donate. Obviously, this school doesn't look like this nor operate like this without some finances, so your financial support is also appreciated. Speaking of support, we had very strong leadership shown once again during the February Frenzy, which is more of the younger generational type fundraising efforts in February. John Panelia, who had to leave, led up that effort, but it was once again another great effort. We had over 200 alumni attend Cash Ball this year, right here in this room. For anybody who attended, I think you'll agree it was yet another great event. They did surpass $1 million once again, which is ridiculous to think of, but I promise you when I say it's not enough. There's still a need. There's still good causes out there waiting for your financial support, so don't think that we can sit back and rest easy. As I mentioned, this Saturday, Day of Service, if you haven't signed up, please do so. There's obviously still some room for your involvement, for your support. This is just one of our ways to give back, to be those men for others. And I know it doesn't say it in my notes, but I've seen it in the past. If you want to bring your families, they're more than welcome. This isn't just a SLU event. Feel free, get the family out together for this. Supposedly, it's going to be a nice day. Hopefully that holds true, but we shall see. Just the Jesuit mission continues. You all do great things in the community, some of which we know about, a lot of which we don't. So we want to thank you for that, for being good leaders, for putting your best foot forward and making a great name continue to progress for SLU. And on behalf of SLU, I want to thank you because, again, I've had the pleasure of leading 4 meetings. I've been participating in this organization for a number of years, but you guys do all the work. You guys make our jobs easier, and I don't work for SLU, but if I could, I would. And any chance I get, I try and give back, and hopefully a lot of you feel the same way. But again, thank you for all of your efforts. And really the reason we're here is because of one of our next speakers. You're going to hear from Ryan Hopkins, who is graduating this year. As Dave mentioned, he is on to bigger and better things. And if I read the litany of information that's in front of me about him, you would laugh and I would feel pathetic because I can't stand up to any of it. But he is the current class president. He is very active in a number of the organizations. The ACES, is it Gadfly? Gadfly, shows what I know. That's the organization or community within SLU who does various productions. They've got their own YouTube channel that's out there, so you can certainly check out some of that. Very active in theater. As mentioned, he is going to Loyola Marymount out in LA, so hopefully he doesn't forget about us when he moves on to bigger and better things. But without further ado, I will introduce Ryan and simply tee it off with the fact that this is my favorite meeting of the year because of people like Ryan. I love hearing from teachers and coaches and guest speakers and all of that, but hearing it straight from the student's mouth, I think really leaves the most impact. So going into the summer, hopefully you'll all remember Ryan's message, and I'll let him now tell that to you. So thanks, Ryan.
Good evening. I believe that everything is connected. In today's day and age, there's this constant feeling and need to be connected. Whenever we make a phone call, send an email, or just talk to another person, it is in an attempt to try to be connected. I think that is one of the most interesting things to think about, just how everything is connected. Similar to the idea of the 6 degrees of separation, how everyone and everything is 6 steps or fewer away from each other. That is an astonishing thing to think about, in my opinion. How everything happens for a reason. How, at some level, every choice that you've made has been intertwined with another facet of your life, no matter how big, no matter how small. SLU has always been where I knew that I was going to go to high school. My brother Jordan, who was a member of the class of 2012, went here, and my godfather, John Savoy, class of 83, before him. Jordan would tell me all the time about how he knew that I would love SLU and how it was the place for me. I was following in my brother's footsteps. He helped me transition into SLU by helping me feel more comfortable within the space. One day during the summer before the first day of school, he gave me a detailed tour of SLU and showed me the quickest routes to get to all of my classes. Freshman year, I was really reserved and quiet. I joined one club, ACES. If you aren't familiar with ACES, it is our diversity club, the Association for Cultural Enrichment at SLU. I only joined it because Jordan had been a part of the club. I consider being elected senior class president as one of my greatest accomplishments at SLU. Freshman Ryan would not have even thought about running for the position. When I think back as to why I ran, I have to go back to sophomore year. During first semester sophomore year, I took acting improv, a class that is taught by Mr. Kevin McKernan. I didn't just take this class to fulfill a fine arts requirement. Rather, freshman year, I was sitting at lunch, and outside of the Commons, in the theater lobby, I saw a group of students laughing uncontrollably. For the entire third quarter, I saw this happen at lunch. One day, during an ACES meeting, I finally asked Andre Colvin, one of the people I used to see out there, what they were doing, and he said that it was a class. So when it was time to sign up for classes the next year, I tried to get all of my friends to take improv, and naturally they all said no. I still took the class, and it was one of the best choices I've made in my high school career. I loved it. Freshman year also, I made the basketball team, and I proceeded to break my wrist at the very first practice of the year, and I was out for the majority of the season. Sophomore year, I was cut. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. He's going to talk about how getting cut from the team was the best thing that ever happened to him. So what I'm going to do is avoid that cliche, but try to imply in every way possible that that was indeed what happened. So since I didn't play any sports, it gave me more time to focus on other things. Mr. McKernan told our class that he would be directing SLU's first improv show in the spring. I decided to try out. I remember telling my friends before callbacks how I didn't think I would make it past first cuts, but I ended up making it into the show. That show was an amazing experience. I met some great people, and I didn't just learn how to be a better improviser, but how to be a better person. Let's look at the most basic rule of improv, the yes and, meaning you always agree with your scene partner and you give new information to keep the scene progressing. You also never sell out your scene partner for a laugh. Improv is an art form that relies heavily on trust and loyalty. You are on stage without a script, so you have to trust whoever you are in the scene to have your back. Through that show, I became a more outgoing person, something that I've always wanted to be. After the show had run its course, I received an email from Dr. Callan, the moderator of Gadfly, who asked me to appear in a sketch for them entitled Higher Learning. In this sketch, I was an artist named Chuck Farrington who would explain his paintings from a ladder, hence the higher portion of Higher Learning. From this experience, I became more and more involved in Gadfly through junior year and into senior year when I became a core member. I've taken all 3 of SLU's film classes, but Gadfly showed me that making videos was something that I really enjoyed doing. Let's leave that memory there for a moment. Junior year, Mrs. Whitaker asked me if I would be trying out for the fall play, You Can't Take It With You. I tried out, and it was not only my first time being in a scripted show, but also my first time wearing a toga, so it was a good experience all around. What came from this experience, however, was my joining of the speech team to be a part of the newly added duet improv category. My partner and I finished in 3rd place that year. Later on junior year, we had our second improv show. In this show, I met someone in my class that I never talked to before, Kevin Strader. By the end of the first week of practices, all of our castmates were fully convinced that we had been best friends since freshman year. One day, a few weeks after the show had ended, I was in the GAD lab, which we call Gadfly's editing room, editing something with Kevin. I believe it was Mrs. Toussaint, if my memory serves me, but I can't be quite sure. But someone knocked on the door and came into the lab. They saw Sergio Goodwin doing homework in the back of the lab, and they asked him what position he would be running for on Stuco. He responded by saying pastoral rep. Sergio then looked at me and asked me what I was running for. Impulsively, I said senior class president. It was one of those things that I'd always been really interested in being a part of, but for various reasons, I just never ran. Now, I am a senior. I'm not the same person I was 4 years ago. SLU has been a place of great growth for me. I think about how every decision has brought me to this place. My parents both went to St. Engelbert Catholic School in North City, now called St. Louis Catholic Academy. There, they met Kim Wheeler and John Savoy. The two of them were married and are now my godparents. My godfather speaking so highly of SLU was one of the reasons why SLU was one of the schools Jordan was looking at attending. Since Jordan went to SLU, it was the place that I was looking at strongly as well. When I got here, Jordan's involvement in ACES propelled me to join the club. I met Andre in ACES, and he told me about acting improv. From acting improv, I became a more outgoing person, and it also introduced me to Mrs. Whitaker. Mrs. Whitaker is why I was in the play last year and why I joined speech team. Improv junior years when I met Kevin, who became my duet improv partner on speech team this year because of our friendship, and we won first place this year. Rewind back to sophomore year. Being in the improv show made Dr. Callan think to ask me to be in higher learning. Higher learning is why I became a member of Gadfly and why I realized just how much I enjoy making videos, which is why next year I will be a film major at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles. It was because I was in the GAD lab that day that I was asked by Sergio if I was running for student council, which led me to become senior class president, which is one of the reasons why I'm standing in front of you right now. Everything is connected. It all started because I took improv class sophomore year. That is what makes SLU special to me. The fact that now I appreciate every choice I make because I know that every choice has a chain of events to occur. Beginning way back to when my parents met each other in 5th grade. Being at a school with so many opportunities, so many avenues to go through, it would be a disservice to myself, to my parents, and even to SLU if I went through my 4 years without taking advantage of everything that this school has to offer. That is the biggest lesson I've learned. To be open to new things. Be open to stepping out of my comfort zone. Because at the end of the day, it can spur connections to be made in the long run. We are all in this building because we are connected under SLU's umbrella. I'm connected with my friends from Stuco, my speech team, from admissions ambassadors, from ACES, from Gadfly, from Cairo 69 that I attended and Cairo 72 that I helped lead, and even from basketball freshman year. If I would not have taken that class, I'm not sure how my experiences at SLU would be different. If I would be going to a different school next year, how my group of friends would be changed, even what I do on the weekends. But everything is how it is now, and I'm happy about that. And it's all because I said yes. Thank you.
And I'll put right on the spot, but does anybody have questions? Are you curious about what's going on with any of the organizations he talked about? You want to learn more about how he chose Loyola versus some of the other schools? I don't mean to put him on the spot, but I figured somebody might have a question. Yes?
Doing all those things you did, how did you find graduating more?
Well, it's kind of funny. During the improv show sophomore year, it's kind of a thing that's kind of become infamous among my friend group, is that I actually went almost 3 days without sleeping. So it's kind of like one of those things where I don't sleep unless I finish all of my homework. So I'm just that type of person. So I always just used to find a way.
Yes.
Well, I was going to Los Angeles to visit the University of Southern California and the University of California, Los Angeles. And my counselor told me that I should look at Loyola Marymount because it was a Jesuit school. And it's also the #7 film school in the country. So when I went to visit USC, I loved USC. And then I went to visit UCLA. And then when I went to LMU, it was just, I stepped on campus and I just knew that that's where I wanted to be. I'm sorry, you said what's my favorite film? I'd have to say Good Will Hunting. I'm a big Good Will Hunting fan. I could just watch that on repeat all day. All right. Thank you.
Thanks again to Ryan. Just a slice of why we love this place. Clearly an overachiever, and I'm sure he'll continue to do that as he takes on Steven Spielberg out in LA. Next up, we've got the Father Hagen Alumni Cup. You've all received emails. Some may have received hard mailings. No disrespect, but we chose them by demographic. But this is essentially our 1 month heads up. We've got June 24th coming faster than we know it. We actually already have 61 paid participants, which is well above where we've been the last 4 to 5 years. But we have room for about double that. We want to and need to sell this out to prove to SLU that us on the steering committee had the right idea, which was don't get rid of this tournament. They thought about eliminating it simply because the interest has gone down at no lack of effort. There are just so many things going on within this school, so many other efforts that they had sincerely thought about eliminating this tournament. So we requested that they not only retain it, but that they revamp it. So we've renamed it the Alumni Cup. We will have some sort of an award, some sort of cup that will be awarded. We've also drastically lowered the price point for both the entry fee as well as whole sponsorship. So for $100, which I know doesn't grow on trees, but for $100, you and 3 of your friends can all give the $100. Come out on June 24th to the Forest Park Golf Course. Food, lunch, and drink will be included. You're certainly encouraged to stick around afterwards. We're working on some guest speakers and guest attendees. But if you haven't signed up, if you've got a foursome in mind, please do that soon. We want to make certain that we have enough room. Certainly if the tournament grows faster than expected, we can take over the third 9-hole course. But our expectation, our hope is to have 2 of the 9 holes, or 18 of the holes sold out here in the next few weeks. So thanks again for all who have signed up. You'll see there's obviously other statistics that are up there as well, but it's the main reminder of June 24th. That's the date. Get out there, get your foursome together, go online and pay. The whole sponsorships are very, very inexpensive. We've had in years past people simply making fun of other foursomes. You can advertise whatever you'd like to on it if it's from a work standpoint, but they're so cheap that I'm sure we'll sell those out. So thanks to everyone who's helped with that to this point, and just don't forget to sign up for that as soon as possible. Next up, we've got the important things, the numbers. We've got our alumni giving report. There's statistics up there. I don't need to read everything to you. The Give St. Louis campaign, this doesn't say this on here, but for anybody who was privy to this effort several weeks ago, it's a citywide, really countrywide effort to raise awareness and raise funds for worthy causes, SLU being one of them. For anyone who tried to give money on that day, there were some hiccups. There is a third party who was running the online effort. When you went to give STL, you could look by school, look by organization, look by nonprofit. And for a long time, for most of the day, when you clicked on any one of the organizations, let alone SLU, it wouldn't give you the ability to donate. So you could still go to slu.org, which you can do any day of the week, and we encourage you to do that. But for whatever reason, that effort, which typically drew in several tens of thousands of dollars, was unsuccessful in doing that. At no lack of effort on SLU's part, it was simply technology failed. So I'm simply reminding you, if you tried to, if you wanted to, take the time, go on to slu.org, give that annual giving gift that is somewhat expected and certainly appreciated by all of you. Or if you know of anyone who ran into that same roadblock, please encourage them to get back out there. But again, some obvious important goals were met, but certainly the need is there. With over 40% of the current student body receiving some form of need-based or blind need-based assistance, your money goes to a good cause. It just doesn't go to cutting the grass and building buildings and paying teachers. All very important things, but these students, these boys, they need your help. And so that's what the cash ball contributions, the Give STL, the February Frenzy, all of these efforts are going towards that greater cause, which is the greater glory of God and the education of these young men who need us and certainly wouldn't be able to succeed in the current facet without the assistance that we're giving them. So thanks to all of you who have given. The fiscal year is not over yet, so you can still go out there, give. Some people love to see their name in the annual giving report, so if you have yet to give, know that that is still an opportunity, and that will be coming out. The President's report will be coming out sometime soon. On the tables, the green list, you'll see the top 20 classes by participation. This is meant to remind you that it's not only an individual effort, but we're trying to band the classes together, band the decades together, try and drum up support any way that we can. So if you see your class on there, thank you. If you don't, that's a reminder to maybe do a little bit of a better job promoting, getting out to the phone-a-thons, doing what we do best. Typically this says right here, typically we receive 300 to 500 alumni gifts in May and June each year, mainly because it is the end of the fiscal year. So with that, if that goal is met, we will actually exceed 3,400 alumni donors for the year. That's a huge number, some of which are giving $10, some of which are giving $50,000. It all matters, but 3,400 of us have given this year, and that's something to be proud of. There aren't many organizations, let alone high schools, that have that type of support. But I can't say it enough. We certainly can, and they can certainly use more. So far this year, almost $4.9 million has been raised. And I don't say that for us to hang our hat on it. We should be at 5, we should be at 6. And there are efforts in this organization within this school that need our support, whether it be the buildings, whether it be additional scholarships, whether it be the endowment. All of this is going towards that. And you can go on the alumni website. You can go out there and see if your name's on there, if you've given, if you haven't, you can see class participation. Again, that last final push, while we don't have a phone-a-thon between now and July 1st, feel free, go out and kind of razz your classmates, promote the June 24th golf tournament, but then also try and get them to give before the end of this fiscal year. So with that being said, clearly you all came to hear Dave, and I'm more so just repeating statistics to you, but I will introduce Joe, who's going to actually announce our newest officer, who's going to be coming in, so you don't have to hear me anymore. John Sontag from AT&T, who unfortunately couldn't be here. He's a very important man. He's actually speaking at the Backstoppers dinner over at the Chase this evening. He's going to be stepping into my shoes, but then to backfill 3 years from now, we have a new alumni officer who we're going to be announcing, so I'll let Joe do that.
Some gifts to bestow. So first of all, thank you all for being here. It's a wonderful night. Thanks to Ryan Hopkins, who did such a great job. As Tim mentioned, Tim's irreplaceable, but he's rolling off the alumni board after serving for 3 years as an officer and 1 year as president. But he's irreplaceable, but we are stuck with the task of replacing him. So we looked through the list and consulted with Tim and consulted with our advancement staff, and we have chosen as the next officer for the alumni board at Mark Burns for the class of '93. Mark, come on up and be recognized. Mark. Mark has a great record of participation. He's at every event, at every phone-a-thon, and it's his leadership that's really caught our attention, and that's why we've asked him to do that as an officer. So I have your official SLU name badge as a officer of the alumni board, so thank you so much, Mark. Thanks for saying yes. Okay. And then Tim, if you could come back up, I would appreciate it. So Mark will be an officer of the alumni board for the next 3 years, helping to plan these meetings, and then he'll take his turn at the podium in his 4th year as president of the alumni board. Tim, I wanted to offer you our official thank you. Tim has been a wonderful president for the year. He's been very proactive. He's kept me on my toes, which I appreciate very much. And so we have a gift for Tim.
Thank you.
And then in the midst of all this, Tim's worked especially hard. It's been a difficult year for him. I shouldn't say difficult. It's been a blessed year for him. in the midst of this year, while he was president of the Alumni Board, holding down his full-time job, he had his second daughter. He had an infant in January, correct?
Yeah.
Edie?
Edie.
And so we should have recognized you in the February meeting and neglected, but this is a little gift for Edie, a little junior Billiken onesie. And so to say thank you and to thank Hillary, your wife, for putting up with all the time away from home, and we really appreciate it, Tim. Thanks so much. This is usually the point, as Tim mentioned, in which we would stick around, Tim. Have a little changing of the handing over the gavel ceremony. As Tim mentioned, John Sondag had indicated he would be here. He's on the board of directors of the Backstoppers, one of the great charities in St. Louis, and their dinner is tonight over at the Chase. And he said, well, I'm going to make my appearance there, and then I'll come over here to finish out the night over here. Well, then just a couple days ago, they asked him not just to attend the Backstoppers, but he's speaking tonight at the Backstoppers, so he couldn't be here, but he sends his regrets, and John Sondag will be our president next year. So Tim, usually the new president takes over at this point, but he's not here. So, all right, I'll take over. I'll fill in for John Sondag. But would you mind hitting the arrow button? The last item on the agenda, and we'll adjourn in plenty of time tonight, is alumni opportunities. We'll just put the list up there. I think we've gone through most of them. This coming Saturday is Ben DeMont here. Ben, stand up for us, would you please? Ben is our director of communications, but he's been doing the Alumni Day of Service for many years. And it's this coming Saturday, and we already have a pretty good turnout. But if you could say a word or two about that, Ben, if anybody. Talk to Ben, and you can take part in the Alumni Day of Service this Saturday. Tim has hit the golf tournament in Forest Park on June 24th pretty hard. We really do want to sell that out, so talk to your classmates and talk that up. If you're a runner, the Alumni Cross Country race every year in August is August, what is the date up there? The 6th, yes. So that's a Saturday to be over in Forest Park, and then you come over here for a barbecue with the current cross-country runners. Usually an alumnus wins that. That's always an amazing thing, that an alumnus will outrun one of the 17-year-old boys. But you're welcome to attend that as well. And then the 5th Annual Scholarship Golf Classic, you might want to put that on your calendar, or Monday, September 26th. We're at Old Warson this year. And so if you're interested in playing a great day of golf, coming out and join us at Old Warson for the Scholarship Golf Classic. Any other questions before adjournment? Tim is officially retired now as president. I'm interim until John Sondag takes over in August. But if there are no further questions, I'll say let's go Blues and adjourn the meeting.